So you heard him before. Nursery rhymes. You know, you remember hearing these rhymes when you were a kid. Maybe before going to bed. You know, maybe at school you would sing them innocently.
Yes.
Have you ever really like digged into that rabbit hole to see the darkness behind them?
You know, I've got a little bit into it.
I started checking out like a lot of the classical nursery rhymes that, you know, they were sing to us, I don't know, by our parents. Even in school, you know, with teachers and shit. And there's some fucking very like disturbance and dark stuff behind like this nursery rhymes.
Oh yeah.
And I think today this is something that we're gonna be talking about in this episode. We're really gonna go into this rabbit hole. We're gonna go behind, you know, the nursery rhymes. And we're gonna cover different nursery rhymes. I have 4 nursery rhymes here. Well, I actually have 2, and
Yes, sir. I have 2 of them as well.
you see, 2 of the nursery rhymes that I got, I think I went online, and there's a bunch of nursery rhymes, right?
Yeah.
But these were like 2 of the top ones that I got. That their story, like the theory right behind them, it's fucking dark. So I got Ring Around the Rosie, and I got London Bridge is Falling Down.
Oh, some nice ones, man.
Yeah, no, the stories right now, when we get into them, man, they're fucking dark. Like, it's something that as a kid, you know, you don't expect, you know, the theory behind them. Which ones do you get?
Well, I want to end with Mary, Mary, Quite Contrary.
Okay.
Which is quite a dark one, talking about a queen from the past.
Okay.
Well, and the second story I would happen to have would be Rockabye Baby, which I'm sure we're all...
I mean, they even made a song about Rockabye Baby, right? I think Sean Paul and
did.
someone made a song with Rockabye Baby. But I mean, it also has like a dark history to it, right?
Yes, sir.
So we have already 2 of them. We have 2 and 2, I'm sorry. We have Ring Around the Rosie, Rockabye Baby, London Bridge is Falling Down, Mary, Mary, Quite Contrary. Let's start with, what do you think if we just start with Ring Around the Rosie, which I think is one of the most famous, you know, nursery rhymes that are out there. I mean, I exactly don't know. You know, we can look for the day when this started, when the Ring Around the Rosie started. But I think it's one of like the classics out there, right? When it comes to nurseries.
Yes, sir. One of the oldest ones to be known.
So when you read about Ring Around the Rosie, it doesn't have like a clear date or an exact, you know, creation date. It just says it was created in the late 1800s. Like one of the most accurate dates, I guess, they posted was like it started like in the 1880s.
Okay.
And you know, you heard the Ring Around the Rosie. We're gonna play a little sample of Ring Around the Rosie right now. Even hearing that sample, I mean, now that we're talking, you know, about how it has some darkness behind it, you can kind of feel like a little bit of a eerie feeling, right?
Oh, yes, man. Just listening to what they're trying to say.
And you see, it says it was created by Kate Greenway back in the 1800s. But so let's start with this. What do you think, or what do you think was the message behind Ring Around the Rosie?
See, when I was younger, it just seemed like something you could, you know, sing around while you're playing with your friends. Especially when you would get, you know, you would all get together in a group, hold each other's hands, walk around in a circle, sing that little song, because that's how I learned it when I was in elementary school. And then I got a bit older and started listening to what they were saying. And that's when I got kind of interested in what it was about, you know, till I read what it was about.
So, a lot of people don't know this. Ring Around the Rosie.
Pocket full of posies.
A lot of people don't know, but the story goes, or the theory, right, behind Ring Around the Rosie goes, that it's all based around the Black Death, which back in the 1800s, I think, that's when there was like this disease going around, right, where it was killing people, and like they didn't have like a medicine or something to get cured with this disease, which was, I think they call it the Black Plague.
Oh yeah, the Black Plague, man.
Right? So when they would say Ring Around the Rosies, rash from the disease. So Ring Around the Rosie was rash from the disease. You mentioned, we were having this conversation earlier where you say you would get some sort of like a ringworm.
Yeah.
You think that's where it's coming from? Because they would tell you that Ring Around the Rosie meant like the ring, and the Rosie was the rash.
Yeah. It was a rosy color, a rosy red color. course, the ringworm back then, they didn't have any cure for it or anything like that. And during the Black Plague, it was a very well-known infection. It was spreadable everywhere.
Super contagious.
Very contagious.
Yeah, they would say it was super contagious. Now, when they say pocket full of posies, they meant flowers people carry to mask the smell of death.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine that?
Bro.
Because you hear ring around the rosies, pockets full of
posies.
You're imagining, a kid with flowers in his pockets. That's what you imagine as a kid.
Oh, yes.
But then you come to find out that pocket full of rosies, or posies, actually meant, flowers people carry to mask the smell of death. You're talking about you would go into a house where there were no survivors from this disease. And people were rotting, man. Like, there's stories where, families, like a whole family inside a house, they were all like fucking rotting in their own beds, way. So the smell was fucking awful. Like, it was like some bad smells. So you put in the flowers so you can mask the dead. It fucking makes it like,
oh yeah, man.
Fuck.
The posy is known to have a very potent smell. So they would put those things in their pockets to walk around and make sure people couldn't smell the death on them.
Now, when they say ashes to ashes, do you know what they would do to these bodies back in the day?
Well, you see, back then, to be able to contain the spread of it, people had smelled like that, which is why they would hide the smell. They would end up being burned to the stake. So they wouldn't be contagious anymore. That's where ashes to ashes comes from.
Yeah, ashes to ashes, meaning, they would burn you and you would literally become ash.
Yes, sir.
Like, you were going to become ashes. And then you start, I'm plotting the whole story word by word. Like, you're like decoding, you're decoding the song, and you start getting all this fucking information. How everything that we would sing as a kid in the playground, you're talking about the day when people were fucking dying.
Yeah.
Where people were trying to, hide the smell of dead, where people were getting burned after they would die. Like, it was something fucking like crazy.
Man, can you imagine turning something like that into an actual nursery rhyme and then kids chanting it and singing it all over the place?
Man, that's fucking eerie. It's fucking eerie because, again, here you are, in the 20th century, thinking that these are kids' songs. I mean, you teach them to your kids. But once you really get into it, it's like, fuck, what are we singing? Like, what the fuck are we singing right now?
What were we taught?
Now, I think there's a part of the song where it says, we all fall down.
Yes.
And they say we all fall down, it's the equivalent to death.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it means, we all fall down. It's we all die. So you start wrapping yourself around the whole, concept of ring around the rosy. It's like, fuck, like literally they're talking. I mean, if you want to really go into like a specific type of disease or something, it's like you said, the ringworm. It's the ringworm, ring around the rosy. Like, I think it's mainly how it was kind of like what do you call it? I don't want to say instructed, but it was how it was described.
Yeah. Well, that's how they would detect it on people. All that ringworm going around, and that bad smell came with a dead skin.
But it's because back in the day, like in the 1800s, right? When you see pictures of the 1800s, haven't you ever gotten the feeling that everything was very fucking eerie back then? Like, everything was very fucking dark.
Oh, back then it wasn't just a Black Plague. It was many stories that made everything quite dark over there, quite deep.
Because even if you go on Google, right, and you search like old Halloween pictures from back in the day, like from the early 1900s and shit, bro, that was Halloween. Like, they were dressing up like fucking killers back then, way. Like, they look fucking scary. I mean, even the doctors back then, that mask that they would wear, what's it called?
Oh yeah, the one that looks like they have a beak on them?
Yeah, the one they look like a fucking scarecrow or something like that. Imagine you're dying in your bed.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in there all in black, wearing that mask. It's like, okay, I'm gone.
And it's full of posies on the inside as well for the
way,
smell.
Yes.
Man, it's crazy, man.
What I want to know is there something darker to this? Now, what I mean with something darker, when we sing the songs, it's more than you're not singing. It's like a chant.
Oh, you're chanting it. That's why you say it 3 times.
What do you chant when you're doing what?
Well, a chant is, let's say, when we want to, well, most people use chants to call upon spirits or energies or things like that. So now imagine a playground with, like, let's say 5 kids.
Yeah.
Holding hands and going in a circle, singing "Ring Around the Rosie."
Yeah.
Right there, they're chanting that song. So it's pretty much calling upon the death.
Yeah. When I say the chanting part, it's exactly what you just described. It's like when you would do like witchcraft or something like that. You know, those ceremonies you would see back in the day with witches where they would get in circles, start chanting something. The darkness behind these songs, to me, you know, when we were kids and we were chanting, like, were we invoking something?
Oh, of course we are.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is it a chant that was passed on generation to generation by, you know, a certain witch or something? Or we still keep, you know, a spirit alive, or we're invoking something? Like if you go to that rabbit hole, it's fucking crazy. And I think it's things people don't see nowadays, because we've had this conversation many times where, you know, there's been songs that come out on the radio, hits. I'm talking about hits, you know, Billboard hits. There was back in the day, there was this song, and when I say back in the day, it was maybe like in the early 2000s. It was called Acereje by Las Cachup. It was a famous group of girls from Chile, I think. And it went something like Acereje, Acereja, da 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 da. Like, it said something like that, right?
Yeah.
And there was this theory where that chant or whatever they're singing was like a fucking spell or some shit like that. And it was so catchy, so fucking catchy, that you had people all over the fucking world singing that song. So imagine, you know, you're a witch, or you're involved with, you know, the dark magic.
Yeah.
And you decide, how can I get people to fucking say this and invoke something? Well, turn it into a fucking song.
Yeah, people will sing
Throw
it
it out there in the radio.
day.
It'll get played around worldwide, and guess what? Now you got fucking billions of people chanting some fucking, you know, some shit.
If you want to talk about some chants, now I know a chant that everybody sings every single year for a birthday.
Oh, you've spoken about this?
Yes, I have.
The happy birthday song.
Yes, sir.
What's up with the happy birthday song?
See, in happy birthday, let's just put it like this. Let's create a scenario. So you sit down in a room, right?
Yeah.
Dim the lights down.
Okay.
Light some candles.
Yeah.
Lighting candles is already an entry.
Yeah.
You're already opening a door right there.
Okay.
Now everybody around you starts singing, "Happy birthday to you."
Boom.
Now, from my understanding, as they sing that chant and everybody sings it to you, the one who blows out the candles takes literally like a year off of your life.
Really?
Yes.
Holy
And
shit.
that's the chant most people don't know, because back then they wouldn't sing happy birthday to anybody. But like, let's see, like you said, some witches get together and they create this spell to where you can lose a year of your life, which is why people age.
And they might gain it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because I mean, as a witch, I want to say, right, this is like a theory, right?
Yeah.
You know, as a witch, I create a spell. And this spell's gonna, you know, be a benefit for myself because I created this spell. And now I got, you know, so many people in town singing my spell.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm getting the benefits from that. Now, I guess if we had witches in the 1800s, what makes you think you don't have witches, you know, in the 20th century?
Oh man.
And if everything's getting more, you know, knowledgeable, you know, we got all this shit going around where we can get a message from here to fucking China in seconds.
Yeah.
What better way for them to, you know, spread their fucking magic or whatever you want to call it?
Music and media, man. Music and media.
It's fucking crazy. Now, let's get into the second nursery rhyme. So I know you had two nursery rhymes as well, right?
Yeah.
Which one would you want to talk about first?
I was thinking about using Rockabye Baby.
Okay, that's a classic, man.
Hey.
In my head, when I hear Rockabye Baby, it's like one of those nursery rhymes that it's like your mom would sing to you so you can go to sleep.
Oh, of course. But before we get into it, how about we listen to it for a second?
Okay, let's play it. Let's play it so the people can hear it.
Rockabye baby in the treetops. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. And down will come baby, cradle and all.
Now, have you heard that clearly? Of course. Rockabye Baby on the treetop. It's an innocent song.
Yeah.
Child rocking, innocence. Now, back then, it was known that some natives would put their babies in cradles, but the cradle would be hanging on trees. Now, as the wind blows, the cradle will rock. But as the perch breaks, the cradle will fall. So this story is not indicating the innocence of the child, but the fall. How easily something can go from being alive to being dead.
You know, I'm gonna tell you this, and now that you're saying it, I remember there used to be this show that I used to watch back in the day. It was like like Unsolved Mysteries type.
Yeah.
But it was more like a show where they would, talk about like scary stories and shit like that. And one time they were talking about, nursery rhymes. And it just came to my head right now when you're telling this story. I remember they had mentioned that there was this theory about that Rockabye Baby is mainly like a nursery rhyme that, it's to put you to sleep or put you at ease, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there was this theory, like you said, that the theory was mainly because of a child that was on the tree branch, fell down and literally like died. But right now when you say, they would put the babies on cradles on tree branches, like it makes sense, because what people don't understand is, so when we say cradle, you might think, a nice baby seat from the mom. No, like back then they had this, like little wood cradles or branch cradles, whatever they create for the babies. And natives would actually put the babies on treetops. And people would ask, why would they put them on a treetop or on a branch? Well, because if you leave them on the floor, you're talking about a time where there was no tables, there wasn't anything like that. You leave them on the floor, they could either be attacked by a snake or an animal or even ants, So they would do that. They would put them on treetops, like on cradles, things on branches, actually.
Oh, of course, man. So thinking to that, the myth goes even darker, because instead of making a nursery rhyme for you to fall asleep, it's actually talking about how easy it is for one to lose life. How life can go from being so innocent to a fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like I said, most likely like a warning, because for it to become known, it must have happened to somebody. Somebody must have seen this, created the nursery rhyme to warn others.
And I think at the end of the day, this is more like you say, like a warning, or it could actually be like, to actually be thankful, because you're singing this to your kid, but actually take the time that you do have your kid. And anything can change in seconds,
Yeah.
So it's like you say, maybe it's a warning, maybe it's just an eye opener. Some people sometimes, they take their kids for granted. You think, I can do this tomorrow, or we can do this tomorrow, and you never know, because tomorrow's not promised. So maybe this song was really made for you to, stop time, be with your kids, and put them at ease.
Oh yeah, cherish your children and the innocence that they have.
Yeah, cherish your children. Like I told you, I feel that Rockabye Baby is not as dark as Ring Around the Rosie. Like I say, both of them, what I do see the connection is death in both of them, which is something tragic. And like we spoke, it's something that people are so attracted to. Tragedies, it's like the number one attention grabber out there. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I say, you can be scrolling to Facebook or going to videos on TikTok, and you'll see, something nice, or you can even see someone talking about God or whatever. And I've caught myself, just scrolling away from that. But you see like a tragic video, and boom, you go right to it. Like you stop and you're all in it. And like I said, back in the 1800s, I feel like tragic was something that would really, really get people's attention, because a lot of the plays that they would do back in the day, like theater plays, they dealt with death. They dealt with tragic. I mean, I think Hamlet has a couple plays, if not, almost all of them involve death or something tragical that happened.
Not just Hamlet. Shakespeare also had a lot of stories, man, based on life and death.
Yeah. Like we say, I think mainly it's just a mystery, right, behind death and tragic that really like catches our eye and really attaches us to a video or a song like that.
The mystery of death. We don't know what happens after, which is why I think we're mostly connected to it, to want to know,
Yeah. Now, we're going to get into the next nursery rhyme. And I'm going to say the second one that I have.
Yeah.
London Bridge is Falling Down. Ooh. Before we started, let's play a little bit of London Bridge is Falling Down.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
So there's a theory, right, for London Bridge is falling down.
Yeah.
The rhyme refers to the repeated destruction of the London Bridge. which was, if I'm not mistaken, is it during the era of Queen Elizabeth?
I believe so, yeah.
So some believe bridges were stabilized. This is the dark legend. A lot of people believe out there that the bridges were actually stabilized with human sacrifices.
Oh, man.
Now, this is where it gets real, real, real dark.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, it's a theory, it's a legend. It's not something that has been proven, but there are stories out there that deep down under the bridge, the way they would stabilize this bridge was with human remains that were actually sacrificed for the bridge.
Oh, man.
The stories behind it are a little bit crazy because we've had so many episodes on Beyond the Darkness podcast.
Yes.
And we've spoken about, the repetition of a spirit in a place. What I mean is, a lot of people say that when you see a ghost in the street, when you see a ghost in a house or in a building, wherever you see a ghost, right? A lot of the times that ghost is trapped in that same movie clip, if you want to call. Because that's where it died. That's where something tragically happened to it.
Yeah.
Meaning, so the story of the woman in white in the freeway. You're riding on your car late night. You see a girl on the side of the freeway, all in white. Story goes, she was killed on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
Anytime you hear something like this was because something tragic happened to that ghost at that place, and it's like a loop. So that's why you always see the spirit in the same place. That's what they have always said about spirits, right? London Bridge. If you Google London Bridge and spirits, there's a shitload of stories out there.
Oh, yeah.
About even tourists that have been to London, to the bridge, and they see things, they hear things. I remember there was this one on a girl, well, it was a couple that they were walking at night, they were tourists.
Yeah.
And they kept hearing people screaming from the bottom of the bridge.
Well, imagine that, man.
Now, in these screams, they would say they would hear the screams of people like in agony, like, screaming because they were like getting killed or something was happening to them. They alerted the police. They actually sent, I think, like a little boat or something down there to check. There was nothing, but they swear that they would hear like multiple people screaming. And the reference was that they were hearing people screaming like if they were burning inside a house. So can you just imagine those type of screams? So when you hear, the nursery rhyme,
Yeah.
for London Bridge is falling down, you go back to, something dark. You go now. This one is like we say, like Ring Around the Rosie. This is more of something dark that happened.
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, they're talking about people getting sacrificed.
No, pues imagine up to right now. There's probably people still jumping off of those bridges.
Mm-hmm.
What caused them to do that?
Okay, so that's another thing. That's actually another topic I was going to get into. That is equivalent to the San Francisco Bridge. They do have a lot of people that actually commit suicide in those bridges.
Yeah.
Where people just, lean forward and they just jump. And like you said, what's calling them forward to that? And I think London Bridge is falling down was more than anything a nursery rhyme or like a rhyme that we would sing or people would sing, in a happy way, like jumping around and you're,
Yeah.
But again, you're getting into, the darkness of
Hey, man,
London Bridge.
Darkness about London. Let's move away from the bridge for a moment.
Okay.
The whole city there is built over the catacombs. You know what's happened to those catacombs? All the walls are made of bone and everything. It's people's skulls and body parts just piled upon one over the other. And it's the same thing as the bridge.
Yeah.
A full town or city built upon death.
I saw this movie that was called As Above and Below or something like that.
As above, so below.
And this story actually takes place in, I think it's France.
Yeah.
I think, and they had the same thing. And until the day, that's there. Like you can take, I think, what's it called, a tour?
Yeah.
Millions of bones are down there, which is kind of fucked up. And the story behind why they would do this is because they didn't have enough space to create a fucking, graveyard for them. It was like mass people dying with diseases and stuff, and they didn't want to create like a barrier up down, like a graveyard, because they were afraid that the disease was gonna get out. And it was eventually going to reach, the people of the town, or even the smell. They say that there was so much bad smell from the bodies. So they started to bury everything underground, and they just fucking created a city on top of it.
But now imagine all these skulls, all these arms, all these bones placed in certain ways to be able to create walls.
Yeah.
Because I've never been there, but I've seen the tours from the catacombs, and it's like they were placed there. You can walk there, you see skulls on the walls, you see all these bones everywhere. It looks terrible, man. Like, just imagine back then in those times, whoever was, dying or anything, they were placing these body parts up there.
Yeah.
And what if they still had skin on them?
Yeah.
What if they were just killed? What if they were recently killed? And up to right now, you still have witches and people that go down there and they do these rituals down there and things like that. So what if it's still happening?
So something that goes way back is sacrificing.
Yes.
Human sacrifices. Back in the day, natives, a lot of people, had this belief that by sacrificing someone, you would get something in return, like a benefit, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, even the Aztecs, they would sacrifice people just to get rain.
Yeah.
Literally.
So the sun won't go black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they would sacrifice people just so they can get some rain and things like that.
Imagine how they felt when the eclipse would happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, breaking down London Bridge is falling down. What if, they made this bridge and it kept falling down. And in their head, it was like, well, maybe we sacrifice a little bit of people down here. The gods were actually, turn our way. And this bridge is going to be stabilized. And this bridge is going to be good. And maybe that was the theory on how they, started, sacrificing people and using their bones and, things like that to kind of like get an equivalence on the bridge. It's crazy.
Or maybe it was made because while they were building these bridges, they would have a lot of catastrophes. The bridge would fall, people that were on it would all die. Even the people that were making it and building it would end up dying while they were building that.
Or what if there's just a very dark secret under the bridge and they just wanted to put something over that? Something where they knew no one was going to be able to, unbury or go and dig. You put a bridge on it. How the fuck are you going to find whatever's under it?
Yep.
Maybe it's something that they're using to hide something. They got rid of a family, a royalty family, or they just did some crazy ass killing back then, and they just hid all his bodies down there, and they used the bridge as a cover up, which can be something that can be very true because, I mean, there's FBI. If you go into the FBI fucking not logged, but like into like previous cases, right, from the FBI or whatever.
Yeah.
They found like barriers of people from cults and stuff under a cement slab.
Bro, have you ever seen the movie Stir of Echoes?
Yeah.
Okay, in Stir of Echoes, they're looking for this body. Well, this guy's going crazy, trying to help this girl because he knows her body is somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
Until he uncovers her behind a wall. So imagine that. They killed the girl and then they just built a brick wall to cover her body.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine if they do that with the bridge as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it can be, like I said, it's a theory, so don't go crazy with us or don't get mad at us or anything. It's it's a theory and it's out there. So so the London Bridge is falling down theory is basically some people believe that the bridge was stabilized with human sacrifices under them and the people were buried in the foundations. It is a crazy nursery rhyme though.
Hey man, most foundations are built upon death.
Yeah, again, death. And here you go again. Third nursery rhyme we've spoken about, and it has some sort of death in there.
Yeah.
Now, first nursery rhyme we spoke about, Ring Around the Rosie. Kind of dark. We went into how maybe it can have some chants, some witches echoes in it, and all this. We might be invoking something.
Yeah.
The second one we spoke about was Rockabye Baby, where we talked that this one, I don't find it as dark or bad as this two,
not so sinister.
But at the end of the day, still talks about death. And then London Bridge is falling down. I think it might be a cover up. I think they used it as a cover up. I don't know, but at the end of the day, with what people have said they heard around the bridge, with what we're talking about, I think it still falls into something very, very sinister.
Yes, sir.
But this fourth one that we have, the one you're going to talk about right now, I think this one takes the cake.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary.
As soon as you said that first word, man, I just, you know the first thing that comes to my mind, and I don't even want to say it. We'll get into it right now.
What?
But you said it's called Mary, Mary,
Quite contrary.
So let's hear a little bit of this nursery rhyme, and you can get into it right now.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cocoa shells and pretty maids all in a row. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cocoa shells and pretty maids all in a row, and pretty maids all in a row.
Okay, so as it goes. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? See, it's talking about a queen from back in the day. Queen Mary the First, also known as Bloody Mary. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So, Bloody Mary, of course, she was a queen well known for her torture tactics and things like that. Now, it's asking, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells. Those are torture devices, man.
Yeah, they are. They are. So there's a part, I think, in the rhyme where it also says pretty mates all in a row.
Yes.
It says that it might be talking about victims or even followers.
Oh, I think it's most likely the victims. Because she was quite a torturous. To be known as Bloody Mary, that's quite a name. So I think most likely it's victims. Followers might have created some of those things as well. They might have gone out there to kill people just to please her as well. But I believe that it's most likely just the victims.
Now, Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? It sounds like a simple question, right? About flowers.
Yeah.
About something beautiful. Mary, Mary, how does your garden grow? It sounds very, peaceful.
Until we find out that the garden is actually just bodies.
But this may not be gardening at all. I don't think they're really talking about a garden. And like you said, when they say with silver bells and cockle shells,
Yeah.
those are not decorations. And a lot of people might think in the song, they're talking about, silver decorations. And I don't. Those are torture
Those
devices.
are torture devices, man.
Because these devices are said to be used to torture, to control, or even to silence those who were opposed to her. Now, when people talk about Mary,
Yeah.
right? Queen Mary. Is it Queen Mary?
Queen Mary the First.
I really think, it's something very, very sinister that was behind her. I mean, for the people that don't know, her nickname is Bloody Mary.
Yeah. Imagine that. Nowadays, you go into a restroom, wet the mirror a few times and say, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. But back then, it was actually a person. So Bloody Mary was a queen. And she was known for torturing and things like that. Persecution, as you said. And to silence them as well.
It goes far beyond, like you're saying, that it became again, as time passed, it became kind of like a chant.
Yeah.
Like it became something where you were invoking her spirit, literally. I remember when I was young and I was in school, it was Bloody Mary. If you said that 3 times in the mirror, she was gonna appear on the mirror and you were gonna die.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you didn't want to say that in the mirror. You didn't even want to say it where there was in the mirror.
Man,
I don't think I ever met a kid or a friend of mine that actually went into the front of a mirror and screamed it. Did you ever try that?
Oh man, bro.
Did you try that?
I used to have a friend.
Okay.
In his room, he had a waterbed and everything, and it was 6 of us, bro.
Okay.
And we were talking about that stuff. I was very young. I was scared shitless. But this guy had a big ass mirror in his room. So as one day we turned off the lights, right? And they sprinkled water on it, and they said Bloody Mary 3 times. I was hiding under a cover, bro, because I was really scared.
Yeah.
But when I peeked, there was literally somebody standing in that mirror.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes, there was. There was
Shut
somebody
the
standing
fuck
in
up.
that mirror. That is a story I can tell you.
How old were you when this happened?
I was like about a good 12, 13 years old.
Really?
Yes. And I still talk to 3 of those 5 people, man.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Fuck. I remember we were young. We were in the school here in Laredo. And I remember it was 5th grade. And when you were in 5th grade, like I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
So it was from pre-K to 5th grade. But 5th graders, you were outside in portables. You were no longer inside the school, right? You were in portables. So they had a portable restroom out there.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the thing. Like during lunch, you know how you get this like 10, 15 minutes of a break after lunch and you're just playing around outside and things?
Yeah.
We would have this fucking, meetings outside the portable restroom. We would just be talking about, hey, who's going to go into the restroom and say Bloody Mary? And it was 10 minutes, 15 minutes debating. And no one would ever try it. Like, no one would fucking dare to try it because everybody was so scared. And like in any other place, there was the legend.
Yeah.
That years back, a kid tried it and that kid, went missing or something. So adding this to the stories, it was more frightening to us as kids. So it was like, no, we're not going to try it. And then I remember as a kid, you had the movie Candyman.
Oh, man.
And Candyman is in reality based off Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Like Candyman is based off Bloody Mary. Except, they needed a character to portray for a movie and they decided to go with Candyman, which was a guy that had, I think, like bees in his mouth or some shit like that, right?
Hook for a hand and bees everywhere.
Mm-hmm. But if you break down Candyman, and this is like another theory that they actually had, I remember. Bees come out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Something that Queen Mary liked was her garden. Flowers. And some of the things you would see in the garden were bees.
Bees.
Now the hook on the hand describes some of the torture weapons that Bloody Mary had.
Oh, they would hang them.
Yeah. So if you really think about it, the character Candyman was based literally
On the legend of Bloody
Legend of Bloody Mary. I mean, at the end of the day, it is Bloody Mary. That's Bloody Mary. Like if you see it like that, Candyman, that's Bloody Mary. That's that's the Hollywood name. But Candyman is Bloody Mary.
Man, right now that I said that story, you just brought back so much memories, man. I remember how everybody screamed because everybody in there started screaming.
In the room?
That's why I peeked.
Oh, man.
Because they were all screaming, tripping out. And I peeked and I saw somebody standing in the mirror. And my friend, the owner, he wasn't the owner of the house, but he lived there. He had turned around quick and jumped on the bed.
Fuck.
Because it was creepy. And the lady on the mirror was wearing black and her face was completely distorted. Like it had burned off or fallen off.
Oh, fuck that.
Like it looked terrible, man.
Just you talking about it, it fucking gives me fucking chills, bro. I mean, right now, I'm a man almost hitting 40 years old. And I wouldn't be caught dead in a fucking restroom saying that shit. And as an adult, you think it's gonna go away because it's just something that it was like an innocent thing you would do as a child. But then you start seeing all this shit around the story.
Oh, dude,
and it makes it more believable. And now this is the first time for me. I think this is one of the first times where I hear someone actually tell me, we did it and we actually saw something.
Bro, it wasn't just seeing something, man. After that, as the night went, because we were all tripping and they were laughing about it and everything. But when it came to going to sleep, nobody wanted to sleep on the floor. Everybody slept on the waterbed. It was a big ass waterbed. Everybody was sleeping on it. And you can hear under the bed, like something scratching the bottom of the bed and stuff like that. Yeah. And then they wanted me to look under it, man.
Yeah.
Because I pretended like I had some balls.
Yeah.
So they wanted me to look under it. I didn't look under it though. But you can hear noises under the bed.
I wonder, during the night, I can just imagine the mirror still in the fucking room.
She was probably watching us sleep.
Yeah, like I don't even think none of you guys wanted to look at the fucking mirror anymore.
After that, my homeboy started hearing voices in his room.
Oh shit.
His name was Ricky.
Okay.
And he would trip out. He was like 14, man.
Yeah.
And he would trip out like bad. He would sleep in the living room sometimes because he would say that he would hear voices from under the bed. And that's where we first heard the scratching and scraping.
On one of the episodes of Beyond the Darkness, season 1, 2, and 3, I think, we had a witch from Mexico, Monterrey, Lobo Blanco.
I remember that.
And this is a man that's, been practicing, good witch, good what's it called? Good
Witchcraft?
yeah, there we go. Good witch. I said good witchcraft. So he says that part of his job is to literally go to like graveyards out there, and they find all this witchcraft on people, like people trying to do fucking black magic on people. So what he does is he finds the hex bags, he takes them home, he unveils them, and then he cleans them out. That's like, and he does it for free, man. And a lot of people have been fixed with this. Like he's had people that tell him this is going bad in my life, and he'll fix it. But on there was one episode that we had where I think I said the story about a mirror that was bought in.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like at a flea market or something, and that the family started having the lady from the house that bought the mirror started having like some heavy visions. And I wouldn't say it's on season 1 or season 2. I know it's just on one of the specials that we have with Lobo Blanco, and it's mainly in Spanish, that episode. But I remember when we were talking about that episode, he was telling us how, like you said with the candles, you turn on candles and you're opening up a portal, something like that. He said like one of the most oldish, ways to open up portals in the house is with mirrors.
Yeah.
And I remember, man, when he told me this, it wasn't like he was telling me. It was more like a warning. Like, don't ever use mirrors. Like, when you have your own house, he told me, and you're going to buy a mirror because, people like mirrors to look at themselves or whatever. Never buy an old mirror, he said. Never buy an old mirror because everything negative from a house or anything that might have happened or whatever gets stuck in the mirror. And if you take it to your house, it might just unload on you.
Well, have you ever seen those videos where little kids are in mirrors? Like there's one of a little girl that's combing her hair in front of a mirror.
I saw that one, I think, yeah.
And then she turns around to see the camera.
Yeah.
But the image of her in the mirror is looking at her.
Yeah.
And
I've seen a couple of videos like that. And obviously, you think some of them might be, AI nowadays or computerized or something, right? But the one other girl actually took place a long time ago. She's a little girl with black hair, I think. I think she's Asian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she's Asian.
Right? I think that one was like an old video. So that one to me was very, very fucking like scary because I think it took place before, we had all this AI shit. If you even see the movie The Ring, I think one of the clips from the video that you're not supposed to watch, there's a lady combing her hair in the mirror.
Yeah.
And you can see her face on the mirror, and when she turns, the face is still looking at you. And it's fucking creepy, man. Like, it's fucking creepy.
Most horror movies have mirrors in the mirrors.
Like, there's a movie, I think, called Mirrors that is basically about, an evil demon or something like that's in the mirrors fucking, haunting this family.
That steals their baby.
Yeah, something like that. I think so.
That one.
But yeah, like, mirrors is something that this guy would tell us, like, don't ever get a used mirror.
Be very careful.
Yeah, never go to a flea market or any place and get like a secondhand mirror. Always, if you're gonna have a mirror, try to buy a new mirror. And he would, what's crazy though? Like, I have a mirror in my house. When you go inside my house, like as soon as you walk in, I have this little shelf on the wall where I have like my keys and things like that. And right above it, we have this mirror that I actually bought on Amazon. And when I get home every day, during the day, it's like, whatever. But sometimes when I get home, like at night, I tend not to look into the mirror. Because I have an experience that happened to me when I was younger. And it wasn't mainly, something haunting, like something sinister, But it was kind of crazy. So I was like 15 years old. And I was barely, trying out marijuana with my friends. Yeah. It was around those times where you're like 16 and you're getting to, smoke marijuana with your friends, whatever. And I had some friends that lived across from my parents' house. And those I love them to death, man. And I'll even send a shout out to Gabriel and Javier. They're super close friends of mine. And one of the first times we were smoking marijuana was on my backyard, actually.
Yeah.
And I remember, the feeling of getting high for like, it wasn't the first time, it was probably like the third or fourth time. But we kind of started tripping out in the backyard. It was night, start hearing shit. And every weekend, every Friday and Saturday, we usually had this thing where, okay, we're going to smoke in my backyard or their backyard, and we're going to have like a sleepover. Just play video games, innocent shit.
Yeah.
It was always very innocent. Like that's something that I always have in my head, that every time we would smoke weed, it wasn't like this taboo shit that, oh, they're going to smoke weed and go rob a bank or rob people. No, it was very innocent. It was like, we're going to smoke and have some munchies and watch movies or play video games.
Yeah.
This time we were smoking in my backyard, and we all started to hear like a noise. And from that noise, it went to where we were hearing like a laugh of a lady. And we started to panic, bro. Like all three of us, we're panicking.
Oh, damn.
So we get to the point where it's like, fuck. Like we're hearing something, we're tripping out. Let's just go inside, I tell him. And this guy's tell me, we're going to go to your house. We're going to go to our house.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's go to your house. And like, nah, we're just going to go to your house. Let's just hang out tomorrow. And I was like, fuck. So they went to their house, both of them together. And I come to my house by myself.
Yeah.
Fucking, 1 a.m., whatever. And I remember, bro, as I walk into my house, my mom had this big mirror in the middle of the living room. And you had to pass that mirror to go into the rooms, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm passing, I stand right in front of the mirror, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, thinking, right, like, oh shit, I'm like high right now, like look at me. And in the mirror, I'm seeing my image, and in the mirror, I'm laughing like, oh my god, I'm so fucking high, and I have my hands like in my mouth, like I'm tripping, right? But I look down and my hands were next to me.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I remember as soon as I see that shit, everything just faded from fucking laughing or feeling like, oh my god, I'm high, to like, what the fuck?
Oh, have you ever stood in front of a mirror but without blinking?
No.
I've done it multiple times to see, because I once heard about that theory.
Yeah.
So I stood in front of a mirror and I was just looking at it without blinking. And as you're staring at yourself, you start seeing everything get darker around,
Yeah.
But then your face starts distorting. And I've seen that multiple times.
I've never tried it. And it's because, like, look, since that experience that I'm telling you, I've been very, like, cautious when it comes to mirrors. Like, not just cautious, but kind of scared. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have that eerie feeling. And I remember that day I saw that image. I saw my hands, next to my body. And I was just like, fuck. I just remember walking to my room, putting on the lights, TV, just fucking going to sleep.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that you're so young that you don't make like a big fuss out of it. Like I didn't tell my parents, hey, I came in high and this is what I saw in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
I could have told my grandma, because she's a big believer in a lot of the supernatural stuff, and she could have probably told me, be careful, whatever. But I just decided to just keep it to myself. And I remember telling my friends the next day, and both of them told me like, you're just, tripping. But it's like, as an adult right now, that when you smoke weed, you remember everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. It's not like alcohol where you'll have like a blackout and you'll remember half of the shit you did. With marijuana, is very different. Unless, you get so fucking stoned that you fall asleep, obviously.
Yeah.
But with marijuana, you tend to remember everything. And nothing plays in your head. Like, it's not like, oh, shit moves around. And no. Like, everything you see, you're really seeing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, what I saw in that mirror, I know I saw it. I know I was staring at a mirror that was giving me my image, and it was doing something different than what I was actually doing. Like, I know, and there's no one that can tell me till this day that, you were just tripping. No, I saw that.
Yeah, man, I believe you.
I saw that, and I never, I never told. I think this is the first time I'm actually talking about this. It's crazy because there's things that sometimes happen to us, and we tend to like kind of hide it in the back of our head and just, over how do you say, like, you cover it with like good memories.
Yeah, we dismiss everything.
You just put a London Bridge on top of it. Basically, you basically just build your own London Bridge on top of this, terrified memories or whatever you want to call them, and you cover them. But like right now, even talking about it, it's like, fuck. Like, I just started to remember, and it's like, fuck, like that really happened. So when you tell me, the Bloody Mary thing that you guys had at the room, I believe you.
Oh, man.
I had that happen to me, so I can imagine, something like that happened to you. I mean, you are invoking something. you are invoking something. And, it's not that we're trying to go away from the nursery rhymes. It all connects to it.
Yeah.
We're going a little bit longer maybe on the Bloody Mary, but that's why we left it for the end, because I felt from the beginning when we discussed, there's 4 rhymes that we had, these nursery rhymes. I feel Bloody Mary is the darkest one of all of the nursery rhymes.
Oh, yeah, man.
You have an evil person that existed in this world who had so much hate in them, killed so many people, so many towns of people were probably killed by her.
Yeah.
She was a fucking witch. Like, she was sacrificing people. She was doing all this crazy shit.
Yeah, because we don't know exactly why she was murdering.
At the end of the day, you can say, well, she wasn't a witch. She was the queen and she just had the authority and power. But I think that as soon as you start using the word sacrificing, you're in the witchcraft game.
Oh, yeah.
I think, it goes along with that. It goes very good. It's like peanut butter and jelly. Like, once you start talking about, sacrificing people, it's witchcraft.
Yeah, it's witchcraft.
You're doing some witchcraft, my friend. It is witchcraft. So as a person that was doing witchcraft and killing people and doing all this shit, and now we have people chanting Bloody Mary, you're invoking that spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And you're getting something in return. You guys saw it.
Oh, man.
I had a friend that he says he didn't say it in the mirror, but he said it with his 2 cousins in the room, and they just said it out loud, right? Thinking nothing out of it. It was a late night. They had twin beds, and they had, what do you call those? The bunk beds. Yeah. They had bunk beds and a twin bed, so they had a total of 3 beds in the room. They said it at night, but they didn't have a mirror. They just said it fucking around. And I think one of the kids was like, well, I'm going to say it. And nah, don't say it. And he said it, right?
Scare each other, yeah.
During the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I don't know, the kid in the single bed wakes up and starts like calling them like, hey, get off the bed. And these guys are sleeping on the bunk beds. So they turn on the light and tell him, what are you talking about? And he's like, you guys were getting on the bed. And they were like, we weren't getting on the bed. Like, I'm asleep. And the other one's like, what? I was asleep. Like, how am I going to get off the top bunk bed and, jump in your bed? And he's like, someone sat on my bed. Like, I was asleep and I felt weird, like, boom, something fell on the bed. Like, someone sat on the bed. So he starts to panic, right? And they tell him, like, no, like, we're in our beds, whatever. So in his panic, he's like, well, I need to sleep with one of you guys. And they're like, no, you don't. You wanted to call Bloody Mary out there and you wanted to say all this. Now you deal with it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, at the end of the night, I think the one in the bottom bed, like, allowed him to go into his bed. So they start going to sleep. Hour goes by, 2 hours. They're asleep already, man. And one of them gets awoken. The one on the top bunk bed says he wakes up because he hears the springs from the single bed.
Oh, shit.
And he's about to call him, and he hears the springs again, like when you get off the bed.
Yeah.
And he hears the footsteps coming like around the bunk bed. So this guy just fucking screams, bro. Screams. And the other ones, they wake up, turn on the lights, and he tells them, hey, I woke up because I heard the fucking springs on the bed. And when I was about to call you guys, I heard the springs like if something got up and it was walking toward my bed, like towards our bed. So they ended up sleeping, all 3 of them in one bed.
Yeah.
Lights on. And yeah, that was their story. Like, they got fucking spooked. But again, I think you're invoking something. Oh, you might say playing along, or you think it's a joke or something. I mean, there were these games, I don't know if you remember when we were in high school or even in middle school, what was it called? The Charlie game or something like that?
Oh, the Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Charlie, whatever. It kind of went with the, Bloody Mary thing. And people were saying that after playing that Charlie game, like, they were hearing stuff. Like, they were hearing noises in their house and shit like that.
Man, have you've heard about the boogeyman, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're going to go a little bit off of the Bloody Mary, but this is a similarity. Boogeyman también, under the bed.
Yeah.
Well, there's one time, we were talking about it outside, and pues también, I was like 15, 16, we were smoking out. But when I went inside, I started feeling like something was under my bed, bro.
Yeah.
Have you ever been scratched? Your leg scratched?
Well, I'll tell you this. I have a friend, Beto, and not to go outside from your story,
Yeah.
but we were coming from a trip in Mexico, in Monterrey, and we stopped at a family member's house in a town that's past Monterrey. And in that house that we're staying, it's an old ass house, bro, like 1800s house, like old house. When we were little, my dad would tell me like this crazy ass stories about this house, how they would, hear shit. They would see a lady out there there used to live a lady, like an old lady that was fucking mean to kids. And I remember me and Beto, Beto's from here, from Laredo. We stayed in this room, bro, and it's like 2 something a.m. because everybody's outside drinking and shit, and we're young, we're like 15, and we're about to go to sleep. And I told Beto, like, this fucking room is giving me like some fucking weird vibes, right? And as we're falling asleep, I fucking feel something in my leg. Like, I feel like a scratch, like what you just said, bro.
Yeah.
Turn on the lights, and on my right leg, I had like a long scratch. Like if you scratch yourself with something, bro, like, and it was burning.
Dude.
And Beto was there, and he was looking at it, and he fucking turned pale white, bro.
Dude.
But when you say right now, have you ever felt the scratch? That's it right there, bro. And there, you see, there's another fucking memory that you just unlocked on me. It's another fucking memory, that it was there, but I wasn't thinking about it anymore. But as soon as you said, have you ever been scratched? There it is. I have.
Man, I've seen and I've felt some weird things when I was younger.
Yeah.
That scratch, I used to have a room with my brother and my sister because we were all younger.
Yeah.
And they had each their own bed.
Yeah.
That night, my sister slept with my brother in his bed because she was always scared. Bro, I was laying down in my bed, right? It was a little single bed.
Yeah.
And de repente, I feel like 3 or 4 fingers just scrape my leg.
Fuck.
Right? So I get up, I panic, I turn on the light, and on my leg, I have like 3 scratches down, but like where they take skin off. Like
Marcados.
Yeah, marcados.
Okay.
Marcados. I tripped out. I woke up my little brother. My little brother was like 10 or 11. He just told me not to be saying those things because he's scared.
Yeah.
I get in bed, but I lay down between both of them, bro. And I was terrified. And my feet were like in a ball. And I didn't want my feet to be close to the end of the bed anymore, bro. But that night, after those 3 scratches, that memory just stuck to me, bro. And right now, I'll show you my leg in a few. I still have those little lines.
Oh shit, like the mark is still there?
I still have those little lines, bro. They're like whitish now, but I have those little lines.
Now, my question is, so you were talking about the boogeyman.
Yeah.
How did this happen? Were you guys like invoking something, or it just happened out of nowhere?
We were outside just smoking out and we were talking about some stupid stuff.
Okay.
And de repente we just started talking about the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Que me te agarra los pies and things like that.
That's what I was gonna fucking say.
Yeah.
So the boogeyman, like, era como que te van a venir a jalar las patas cuando te decían en Spanish.
Yeah.
Remember that shit, güey?
But-
Pórtate bien porque te van a jalar las
Dude,
patas.
that's what we were talking about it, man.
Yeah.
Because my homeboy's mother told him que si se porta mal, su abuela le agarra los pies.
Fuck.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about that. We're making fun of him. And we're talking about it. It was the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Le traes miedo al boogeyman, things like
Al
that.
cucuy.
Right? Yeah. They're scared of the boogeyman and all that stuff. But me laughing about it, that happened to me.
Fuck.
And I've got some weird ghost stories because I've seen little girls. I've seen a dude. I used to live in an apartment, bro. And our window was facing outside to the street, but we're on the 2nd floor. I once woke up because I heard this noise outside and I got up. Look out the window and there's a guy standing right there in the bottom looking up to me. So I laid down in the bed and when I looked towards the window, the dude standing in the fucking window, bro, looking right at me. I got chills on me right now.
Yeah.
The guy was looking right at me in the window. And I remember just going to my mom's room and because my mom was there with my stepdad. I go into the room and I wake her up and I tell her that there's somebody in my window. So she goes into the room and there's nobody there. So she told me just to suck it up and just go to sleep. It's just my imagination. I have a wild imagination as well. But that wasn't a part of my imagination, bro. I saw that. That was by the Springfield Apartments. Right there where the little baseball field is.
Oh, yeah.
On Saunders. Right there, man. Oh, man, right now that I'm talking about it, bro. It feels so weird just saying those things.
I wish we can go on and on with this.
Oh, man.
And we really, I mean, to kind of like summon everything we were talking about.
Yeah.
Nursery rhymes. Do you think they're just rhymes? Do you think they were meant to comfort us? Or do you think it was something that maybe it was meant to never be forgotten? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of the day, they're just something, a story, a chant, something to invoke, something to be passed along generation by generation. Because at the end of the day, as we sing them with our children, or as, they sung them to us, maybe they survived because something about them was always meant to be remembered.
Maybe it was.
So, I mean, to everyone listening out there, maybe the next time you hear one of these melodies, you should really pay attention. Because sometimes the darkest stories are the ones hiding in plain sight. So, to the people listening to the stories, to everything we spoke about, if you really enjoyed tonight's episode, make sure to follow us and subscribe at Beyond the Darkness. Yeah, Beyond the Darkness podcast on YouTube. YouTube, you can find us on Beyond the Darkness podcast. Facebook is Beyond the Dark 956. TikTok, Beyond the Darkness podcast. And I mean, if you have a story or you want to share something with us, you can send it to our Facebook. You can send it to TikTok. You can just message us and send us your story, or if you have another rhyme, because I know we left a couple of rhymes out of, a couple of nursery rhymes. I know there's a couple we left out, but if you have one that you really, really want to send to us, send it to us, and we'll talk about it. And maybe we can have an episode 2 about nursery rhymes, because I'm pretty sure we left some out. But like I said, maybe not everything we were told as children was really meant to comfort us. Maybe some things were meant to warn us. I hope you really enjoy this episode. I thank you, Aaron, with your stories. I think, your story, the one you told me about the mirror man, that's the one that's probably not going to let me sleep tonight.
No, man, believe me, I was terrified that day. And right now that I think about it, it's just memories bringing back, man. Memories coming right back.
Well, we will let this one end tonight. I hope you guys can sleep. Until next time, remember this was Beyond the Darkness podcast. El Más Allá de la Oscuridad.